Are we being divided even further by political party and ideology?
A new law enacted in July of this year might actually allow lawsuits to be filed against the gun manufacturers. So forget about Kyle Rittenhouse. This new law enacted in July of 2021 in New York State would allow people to consider or to sue gun manufacturers on the theory of public nuisance, that they're manufacturing something that's a public nuisance, even if they didn't intend for that to be the case. And perhaps that's why Remington Arms, an iconic American brand founded in upstate New York 205 years ago, is relocating its headquarters now to Georgia.
We're going to talk about that in just a minute, but first, a quick reminder, we have a gun giveaway going on. It's absolutely free, but it ends really soon. So click the link in the description down below to learn which brand new gun you could win. All right, so I've been seeing news reports on lots of different topics. The last one that got me started to make me do this video was this report that gun companies continue to move to red states.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 22 News at Noon. I'm Rich Teddemer. Breaking news, Smith & Wesson, one of the nation's oldest firearms manufacturers, announced today that it's moving its headquarters and significant elements of its operations out of Springfield into Maryville, Tennessee in 2023.
Well, think about this for a minute. Yes, of course, they're going to move to states where they are welcome. Smith & Wesson is moving out of Massachusetts, moving down to Tennessee. Remington had moved down to North Carolina in the past. Gun Valley up there in Connecticut is now all but devoid of gun makers. I think there's one left, Charter Arms, up in that area.
I'm on Roosevelt Avenue outside Smith & Wesson's Springfield headquarters. As you just said, it'll be moved down south, and it was directly a result of what they're calling damaging proposed legislation in Massachusetts that would ban the manufacturing of semi-automatic rifles, which made up over 60% of their revenue last year. Now, Smith & Wesson has been based here in Springfield since the company was incorporated back in 1852. After vetting a number of cities and states, they made the decision to relocate 750 jobs and its headquarters to Maryville, Tennessee. Key factors for the decision include support of the Second Amendment, quality of life for employees, cost of living there, and favorable location for distribution.
Yes, gun makers and gun companies are moving to states that provide better tax structure, more welcoming, less regulation, all these sorts of things. But there's more than that going on. The governor of New York recently was on the record saying all 5 million Republicans should move out of New York. They have no place there. Can you imagine what would happen to the state of New York if 5 million taxpayers just up and moved? The place would go bankrupt. It's already the most heavily taxed state in the union. And is this just showing a further division? People getting angry and dividing up along party lines, that you can't live in a certain state or in a certain region unless you can prove you're a Democrat or you can prove you're a Republican. We don't need that. We are the United States of America. We should be united. We should be working on principles, not policy and politics, things of that nature. Yes, I see these gun companies, ammo companies moving to states that give them a much more favorable climate, a business climate, a taxation climate, just a general regulatory climate. They're moving to these areas. But it's showing a division that, honestly, it's just not good for America to be so culturally divided, so angry at each other just for being on different sides of a topic. I don't like seeing this. It kind of smacks of the pre-Civil War days when the states were dividing up along boundary lines based on slavery and things like that. Is this something that's going to happen because of guns and gun ownership? Right now, people, you'll hear it all the time. Oh, I live in California, I can't have X. Well, move out. And you know what? There's a whole lot of people moving out of California, going to places with lower taxes, going to places that are more favorable for gun ownerships. But then you see the other side of that coin too. Lots of bumper stickers floating around Texas that says, "Don't you California my Texas." They don't want liberals moving from California, making Texas more liberal. This sort of thing, this division along these party lines based on politics instead of principles, is really something that's weakening this country and is putting people at each other's throats for, honestly, for what I see as no good reason. The other people who are doing this might think it's a great reason for them to be angry with someone or decide that they're going to divide up along Democrat or Republican lines or something like that. But if you think about this in the long term, in the big picture, this is not healthy for the country. Understand that there are some things we all believe in: liberty and freedom and the ability to do and say what we want to do and say within the bounds of the laws that are made by our representatives. We have a great system here. No, it's not perfect. I understand that. But it's not going to survive if we continue to divide, and split up and choose up sides and put on armbands, and the right stands over there and the left stands over there. That's not what we really need. We need to work together and figure out the real reasons for surges in crime, or the real reasons that people are committing these crimes. It's not because of guns. Guns don't make people commit crimes. It's not what we're talking about. We understand that we love freedom, and there are some people who would be willing to trade their freedom for some perceived amount of security. I'm not one of those people. I don't want to do that. We need to talk about that realistically and rationally. I'm not standing here, and nobody get this in their mind. I'm not standing here saying words like reasonable gun control. Nope, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about making sure we have the freedom to defend ourselves, that we protect our Second Amendment rights at all costs. But I also don't want to see such sharp divisions in this country that we're dividing up along party lines and we end up in a situation like we had in the late 1850s. That's nothing but dangerous. We don't want to see that. So if you're watching this video and thinking about how divided the country is, what I want you to do is make sure that you are acting on your principles, that you are voting your principles, not just a party line. Don't just do whatever the party says. Vote and act on the principles of freedom and personal responsibility. Those are the things that make America an amazing place to live. We have a wonderful country. And if something goes wrong in this country, you need to understand this: no one is coming to rescue us. When things go bad in other countries, the United States sends hospital ships and airplane loads full of water and food. Nobody's coming to rescue us. We need to make sure that we keep our country strong by working together. But I still don't want to give up any of our freedoms. I hope that we can have a meaningful dialogue and work on other ways to reduce crime and stop talking about gun control. So why don't you tell me what you think down in the comments section? Are we getting more divided? Are we going to continue to get more divided? What's the worst thing that could happen if we continue down this road? Want to know when it's legal to draw your gun? Click the video right next to me to reveal a detailed explanation from a former police officer and competitive shooter. Click this video right next to me.
You need to analyze every situation as if your life depended on it, because your life will depend on it.